Hello and welcome once again. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this cute little bunny. And I love making bunnies, and I've tried slightly bigger eyes this time and try to make it fluffy without adding fur. So you can watch the video and see how I got along. Starting with the cordial slivers as always, and just thinking how big I want the bunny to be. So this is the size of the body, and I want a cute little one. So it's kind of an egg shape, and the pointy bit I'm going to add the head onto it. So it's kind of an egg shape. And now I'm felting the head and shaping this the shape of the head right from the beginning when it's very squishy. This is the picture of the bunny I'm using as a reference for the face, and I'm going to try and make it the same shape. It has a very prominent shape of the whole head, and you can see the eyes, where they're gonna sit, and the nose. So I'm just doing it with my needle right from the start when the whole thing is not felted well, so I know where exactly I'm going with the shape. And I've added eyes now. I'm using 8 mm eyes and slightly bigger than what I use usually. I use 5 mm, but I'm using slightly bigger, and I think it makes a lot of difference. When I'm sure where to put the eyes in, I just glue them with all-purpose glue and just push them in. Now I'm adding more wool to it to shape the head. So there's more wool on top of the head. And I've got the picture right in front of me, so I can keep looking at it and just figure out where I have to add the wool to get the right shape. You can always use your fingers to shape the wool, and that helps a lot. I'm adding more pieces of wool little at a time to shape the mouth, and it's like a muzzle right underneath the nose. So if you add a little at a time, you know exactly how the shape is going to be and how it is forming. And I really enjoy needle felting, so if you've just started off, you'll see that it's a fascinating art. Just keep stabbing and the magic happens. Now the same way I'm going to add more wool to the other side so they both are balanced. Now I'm adding more wool to the head, and I've got the reference picture in front of me, so I know that I have to add more wool because it has a big forehead, and I'm shaping the eyelids as well. So it's one piece of wool that I'm using for both the head and forming the eyelids. So I'm just adding one piece of wool, and it has gone across the head and over both the eyes. And multi-tools always speed up your work. So if you're into the craft, you should get your tools. I got them after months of felting, and I thought that yes, I love this craft and I'm gonna spend more money on it. So I got myself some multi-tools, and it really helps a lot. Adding more to the cheeks, both the sides. And if you've seen my other videos of bunnies, I've always made 3 triangles and put one on the head and two on the cheeks, both of the cheeks. But this one I'm forming just looking at the reference picture, so I know to do it a little at a time. Now as you can see, the head looks a bit bigger for the body, so I'm adding more wool to make the body a bit rounded. Feel that the eyelids need a little more elevation, and so I'm adding little pieces of wool, and I felted them separately and then joined them, so I get a nice curve. And I have to be careful because this can make the bunny look angry. I think it did a little bit. Now started adding color, and I'm adding a black line. I'm going to make a gray and white bunny. So I'm starting with the darkest color and a little dark gray over the nose. Then I'm putting light gray on top of it. I'm just trying to get the little shaded area, and adding gray to both the sides, and a very thin strand of black around the eyes, right around the plastic eyes. The rest of it covering with white. So I'm trying to get a subtle blend of grays and whites on the face and the forehead. And now as you can see, I've taken the white color right down on top of the gray, so it blends well, and it's a very thin piece of wool, the white merino. I'm covering the grays with it, so I get a very subtle gray blending. For the ears, I'm using darker colors on top and white at the bottom. I've laid them down in position I need, the darker on the top and then the bottom, and then I've flipped them over and filtered them so I get a nice blend on the top part, and this comes inside. So I just folded the edges to form a little triangle, and I want really small ears, not really big ones. So I'm making really small triangles. Now the camera is focusing my hand rather than the wool. So now if you turn it over, you can see a very nice blend of the shades you want. And the top is dark, and you get light gray. In the inner part, I'm adding a little brown colored wool, and it's carded, so it gives a little volume to the ears. Using my hair straightener to iron them out, and it helps making them really flat and nice. Gives a really smooth finish as well. You can use pins to know where you're going to felt the ears on, and the pins help in the positioning. So I'm using pins to see exactly where my ears are gonna sit, and then felt them down. Don't worry too much about the edges of the ears showing, because you can always cover them with whatever color you're gonna put on the body. In my case, I'm going to cover it with white. So for the tiny little feet or the paws, I've rolled some wool into a circle. So it's a tiny little circle, and I've cut the two toes. I made cuts with the scissor, and then I'm using my needle to stab it circularly so it's more rounded. As you can see, I'm folding it right down at the bottom end, so I'm getting the shape of the paws right at the bottom as well as the top. So it's kind of a whole rounded toes. And they've got nice firm shape, and the other end is a bit fuzzy because I have to attach that. And for the hind ones, I'm going to do the same. It's a bit smaller. The toes are really small, so I'm going to add more wool to each of the tiny toe and take it right to the back, turn it over, and form the rounded toes. As you can see, I'm adding a little wool at a time to each one of the toes and turn it over, and I felt it some more so I get the roundness. That forms the nice shape, and the other end is left fuzzy because I'm going to shape it on the body. As you can see, now I'm rounding it and it's attaching to the body as well. So I had left it quite fuzzy. Same thing for the front paws. You can always use pins to see exactly where you have to join them. I'm adding more wool to the back because it looked too flat and small. I'm giving it a bigger butt. You can always add more wool where you can't take it off, so it's always better to form a small shape rather than starting off with the big one. I'm attaching the head to the body, and this has to be really secure, so I'm going all around. You can add more wool to the neck if you want. I'm adding the white color. I think I've got a New Zealand top that I'm using for the white bunny. Not merino, it's the New Zealand top, and it's a bit uh, not as soft as the merino is. Once the whole body is covered with white wool, I'm using my reverse needle and I'm going really carefully in lines like you would add fur. I'm just pulling out wool in straight lines very carefully, and then I'm cutting it off. So I'm trying to give it a fuzzy look, but nice and neat, not uh, a rough look. Just trying because I haven't got that technique yet to add short fur. I'm using different methods. I'm using a hair trimmer to shape it. Here I'm adding a little spot of black as you would add fur, just to give it a little spot. I'm adding a little gray as well. You can add spots, or you can have the plain white bunny. I just wanted to add a little spot. So the whole white wool, I used my reverse needle to pull it out and given it shape using a eyebrow brush. Doing the same on the face, really carefully pulling out the wool using a reverse needle and giving it a trim. But you have to make sure that you don't lose the shape. So you have to keep the shape of the face and carefully take it out. I'm using a very fine needle to get things down first, and then I'm going to pull them out with the reverse needle, so it gives a really nice blending as well, because we had layers of gray and then we had white on top, so you can see it has blended very well, and I'm happy with the little bunny. I'm going to make another one and be better at the shape. Thank you very much for watching.